I'm telling them, stop asking for independent Sharia court. Why are you begging for independent Sharia court when the constitution allows for your state to create Sharia court for you? Stop begging. Stop begging. To stop asking for one. And let us make it clear. What you are asking for is independent Sharia court. When constitution say you can have a Sharia court of appeal, you are begging for independent Sharia panel, trampling on your right.
The last speaker was talking about Muslims in the Southwest begging like paupers, like arm collectors for their rights. Like this, I'll let him know. I don't know if he's a northerner or a southerner. I'll let him note the fact that the social dynamics, the sociological dynamics of the north is different from the south. It is quite different, and that is why the same constitution provides Sharia Court of Appeal and customary Court of Appeal for the south. Sharia Court of Appeal was genuinely intended for the north. Area Court, Sharia Court of Appeal, it was intended for the north. Customary courts and customary Court of Appeal was intended for the south before the eventual evolutions of our laws. That states that deem it fit can also legislate on Sharia courts of appeal in their state. But I'm saying that in the southwest, the fact was even mentioned that you can't blackmail the southerners or the southwest Yoruba Muslims for appealing for a dialogue. Do you want us to take up to arms to demand our rights? Is that what you are recommending? Or you are admitting that we should blackmail the state government to recognize our rights? No, we don't do that in the southwest. If that is how you express your rights in the north, we can't do that in the southwest. And I will never recommend those.
Which the court is competent to decide in accordance with the provision of subsection 2 of this constitution. This is the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
For the purpose of references, chapter 7, part 2, section 275 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria allows for the creation not of Sharia Court of Appeal. That is the choice of words of the Constitution. Sharia Court of Appeal. It allows for its creation. So now, as I was saying, the Constitution allows for states to legislate on this matter if they feel the need that, okay, we have a considerable number of citizens in our state that need this for them to practice their religion. I mean, I'm assuming that is the wisdom behind this this provision or this allowance. So now I feel that it is ignorance on the part of citizens of this country that are from the southwest region, especially the Muslims, to request for ISP, Independent Sharia Panel. I think they are trampling on their right, on their constitutionally guaranteed right. We are not talking about a population of people that are 10% of the, which is significant. 10% is a significant population, but we are not talking about a population of people that are 10% or 20% or 30% of the population. We are talking about people that are ranging from around 35 to 50% of the population that are Muslims, practicing Muslims, and then they are begging with bowls in their hands, please allow me to practice my religion. What I just want is independent Sharia panel. I'm not even asking for a Sharia court, and they are begging and crying and rolling on the ground for somebody to have mercy on you. to practice your religion that is guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is a right that you are born with. Because a fundamental human right is not a right that is given to you. It is a right that you are born with, a right to practice your religion. We also know that the Constitution clearly states the jurisdiction of the Sharia court. That what they can legislate on is for personal matters. If we want to, it is not the duty of any Muslim, like someone has made mention here, to come and educate anybody on Sharia. It is not. Because the Constitution is very clear. It is not the duty of any Muslim to tell you that you have your right to life. I don't need to tell you that you have your right to life, or you have your right to freedom of movement. You know that it is your constitutional right because it is guaranteed by the Constitution. I don't need to tell you whether I have the right for Sharia. The Constitution guarantees it. If you want to know, go and read the Constitution. It is your civic duty to know the laws of the land. After all, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So why is it my responsibility or the responsibility of any Muslim to cure your ignorance of the law? So for me, my position on this is very clear. There are people that are religiously intolerant, they are divisive, and they are hell-bent. They are hell-bent on trampling on the fundamental human right of our fellow compatriots. A wise man once said that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And I always caution people that one right that you are trying to trample upon of people, and you are thinking that now it is, I beg, these people, they do, I beg. If you allow one right to be trampled on, tomorrow somebody is going to trample upon another of your right. And because you have allowed that, there is one fundamental human right that can be discounted. Tomorrow, when a right that is very important to you is being taken away from you, because people have already been socialized to keep quiet when rights are being trampled upon, you will be looking for the person to speak for you, and tomorrow nobody will be there to speak for you because you have allowed that to happen. So my call to the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and my fellow compatriots here today is, let us stay true to our Constitution. Let us stay true to the ideals that we profess, that we are Democrats, we are believers in fundamental human rights. Let us live and let live. Let us allow people who want to practice their religion to do so. Let us educate ourselves on the postulates of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let us not come and be doing whataboutism, feigning some fake ignorance that I am afraid that they are going to cut my hands. Where in the Constitution does it allow that? I am afraid that they are going to stone somebody to death. Where in the Constitution? Because anything that will be done in this country has to be according to the Constitution. So don't come and feign any. People that are stealing, are performing, are doing crimes in this country. If they contravene the law, the police will get them and they will arrest them. So anybody that wants to go against the law should do that. The police is there to deal with them. And to my Southwest Muslim brothers, and even all Muslims all over Nigeria,
That is start rounding up.
Yes, do not stop doing explanation of Islamic independent Sharia panel. No, the Constitution guarantees that a court should be created for you to enjoy the full extent of the law. Don't be begging in Nigeria. You don't need to beg. The constitution allows for Sharia court to be created. That is what you should be requesting for. Thank you.
Thank
It
you,
is
Big
talking
Daddy.
in plain English. I'm not a lawyer.
Thank
It
you,
is
Big Daddy.
talking in plain English.
Big
Plain.
Daddy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Your point is noted. I would like Mujib to actually respond now. In line with what you've just said, the 277, right? Let him respond and then we'll move the mic. Thank you.
You know, the problem is that he's not a lawyer, so he's not speaking in the spirit of the law. He's not speaking in the spirit of the law. He's speaking from mere literal interpretations. And that's not how laws are analyzed. I gave the analysis, I gave the foundations to the laws, I gave the evolution of the law, I gave the legal history, I gave the legal background, and I asked critical questions how realistic implementations will work. And I gave alternatives. And I also addressed the issue of that section. I'm not doubting it. I mentioned it also. I said eventually, before it wasn't like that. Before it was exclusive to the federal government to create Sharia Court of Appeal and states to create Sharia Court, lower Sharia Court and Sharia Court, or what have you. Eventually, it was amended to allow states to also legislate on such matters. And I gave answers. I said, even within the existing legal framework of conventional courts, customary courts, or what have you, in the South, the Muslim rights on civil affairs, personal affairs, can still be addressed. And I give examples. And in fact, I give example of the Fakojai customary court. And I said, if the states or the federal government fails to reform the customary court in addressing and accommodating or addressing the lacuna of the Muslim rights regarding marriages and divorce, which is, to me, as far as personal law is concerned, Islamic personal law is concerned in Nigeria, that is the only aspect of the law that has lacuna. Other aspects of Islamic civil rights are protected by this constitution and protected by existing framework, including inheritance. In fact, many Muslims in the Southwest, even our rich elites, don't practice Islamic will. I'm saying this as a lawyer. We beg them as Muslim lawyers to adopt Islamic inheritance. They don't accept it, they don't practice it. And there are reasons why they're not practicing it. I don't want to talk about that now. So I'm saying, forget about you're just stressing on one verse of the constitution. You don't even understand extensive legal backgrounds or evolutions or spirit of interpretations. And I said, if the federal government or the state government cannot address the customary courts to accommodate that lacuna, then what is wrong with Sharia Court of Appeal in states? What is wrong with Sharia panels in the states? And I'm saying, even who is even stopping? You are not addressing and saying that they're not begging, calling for dialogue, clarifications are all forms of advocacy. Muslims are going on TV to address this issue. They are all forms of advocacy. It's not until you sponsor protests or you become barbaric, that is when you now claim you are an advocate or you claim you are defending your rights. That is not the standard of the Southwest people. I wouldn't know if that's the standard of the Northerners. I don't think so. But in the Southwest, that's not our standard. We have our practices, we have our ethics culturally embedded, and we will abide by that. Thanks so much.
It guarantees the fundamental human right, which includes freedom of association and freedom of religion, for you to practice any religion that you want to practice. The Constitution not only guarantees that, it went further to recognize Islamic personal law. It went further to also allow for states to legislate on the creation of Sharia courts. Please listen well. This is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So for me, really, the Constitution allows for states to enable citizens of this country practice their religion as they want. They consider that there will be a need for Islamic law. So any state that feels that for its people to enjoy their fundamental human right. They will need a Sharia court for them to enjoy it. The Constitution said the state legislatures have the power to make this law.
Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting interesting, and this is the most strategic point. I would like to lay some foundations and make some clarifications, legal clarifications. First, 1999 Constitution guarantees right of religion. That's undebatable. However, the Constitution also guarantees the secularity of Nigeria. A secular state means a state that is neutral to all religions. A state that accommodates all religions. But what happens when all religions want to introduce their own theological laws in a secular state? What will happen? So that leads us to why the Constitution also guarantees or recognizes Islamic personal law, Islamic civil law. The Constitution was wise enough, or the draftsmen of that Constitution were wise enough to know that, see, we can't afford to legitimize general adoption of religious law. We can't afford to legitimize total adoption of a religious law, that is Islamic law or canon law of Christianity or whatever law. So the Constitution limited it to Islamic personal law. But this is the complexity. This is complexity. In 1999, the northern elites, and I would say the northern politicians, tried to blackmail that same Constitution. This is I'm a Muslim, I'm a practicing Muslim, but I'm going to say it as it is. Because the foundation of Sharia code outside personal law was sponsored by northern politicians for political interests, regardless of some genuine sentiments of some Muslims in the north. So some northern politicians sponsored it, people like Sonny Yerima and co. Toasted President Olusegun Obasanjo to allow the full adoption of Sharia code in the north, and use the same Constitution to justify their claims and demands that the Constitution guarantees right of religion. So Sharia is part of their religion, and total adoption, total practice of Sharia is part of their religious rights. That was what they used to blackmail. Olusegun Obasanjo. And for political interest and political legitimacy, they allowed total adoption of Sharia code in the north in 2001. So they betrayed the intention of the Constitution. They betrayed the intention. So it was allowed. So they allowed it, and in fact some experimentations of that total adoption of Sharia code was practiced in Zamfara, in Niger, in Kano, and ends of poor people were truly severed, and the rich northern elite were excused. Local prostitute homes were haunted. Hisbah was created, and the biggest victims of these supposed Sharia enforcers are largely the commoners. We have a good example of how the so-called northern elite are still being haunted by EFCC, but they are being excused from the Sharia code. But this is the interesting thing. The Constitution, I'm saying it again, the Constitution guarantees the right of religion in Nigeria and right of Muslims in Nigeria. However, the Constitution will never allow the supremacy of religious law at the expense of the secularity of the state. when the religious law conflicts with the secularity of this state, of the constitution, that religious law will fall. That religious law will fall. And that is why there's a blasphemy case in which a Northern elite, a Northern scholar, Islamic scholar, was accused of blaspheming Rasulullah. And I told a friend, when a Sharia court, not a Sharia court of appeal now, a Sharia court on criminal matters in Kano convicted that man, I said, it's very funny. I said, if this man appeals this judgment in court of appeal, this judgment will be trashed and quashed by the appeal court. Not Sharia court of appeal now, by the appeal court, conventional appeal court. That judgment of the Sharia criminal court in Kano will be trashed. Because the existence of such Sharia courts outside civil law or personal law is even illegal at the expense of the constitution. That was declared. It was declared because the constitution of Nigeria does not even recognize anything called blasphemy. So therefore, if the judgment of that Sharia court in Kano, existing on its own volition, gets to the appeal court, it's going to be trashed. I'm saying this confidently. So the Sharia criminal system existing in Kano, Isba, whatsoever, is just existing in its own bubble, not within the dignity of the constitution. I'm saying this confidently. And you can test the law. You can test the law. If you wish to, you can test the law. So my point is, the intention of the constitution is to only protect the Islamic personal ethics, the Islamic personal laws, such as marriages, divorce, inheritance, adoption, custodianship, and what have you. Financial transactions. In fact, the Sharia Court of Appeal is not even interested in financial transactions. That one was another adoption for the financial system. And that's why we must not do the mistake of confusing the Islamic finance system with the generic or the general Sharia code. We have to be more strategic and more tactical when analyzing these systems of Sharia vis-a-vis our social realities and global social realities. So my point is, the Sharia Court of Appeal was formed to address Islamic personal laws, and the local Sharia courts or area courts in the north were legitimized and authorized by the state to address Islamic personal affairs only. But that is not the demand of most Muslims, whether in the north or in the south. The euphoria, the zeal, the excitement, and the clamor of most Muslims in the north and south in Nigeria is that they want a total adoption of Sharia code. That is unrealistic, and that is not possible. I'm a Muslim, and I'm saying this with the sense of conviction. It is not possible. Because when you intend that, the Christians too have the right to say they want killer laws. If we have Hindus in this country, they also have the right to clamor for such. The treasure worshippers can come for such too. So, those having or those nursing such dreams should go and water the dreams down and wake up to reality. If you choose to live in a multi-religious secular state, you must choose to live within the secular laws of the state. And your dreams of perfect religious states or perfect religious law must be watered down. It must. It's not a should. It must. It must be watered down. The intention of the constitution, the intention of our draftsmen, is to allow Islamic civil rights, not a total adoption. Because you can't run a perfect religious state, let alone a perfect Islamic state, in a secular state. There will be a lot of conflict. Not even social conflict. A lot of legal conflicts. I can give you examples. Let me give you an example. Islamic law allows that you cannot inherit your father if you're a non-Muslim. It's a very complex angle. The constitution says no. The constitution says you can inherit regardless of your religion. The Wills law says no. The constitution guarantees non-discrimination. These are issues, and they are so many examples of such conflicts. What is the fact that you can't run a total or perfect or absolute religious state or Islamic state in a secular setting or in a secular country? It is not possible. Those nursing those dreams in the north or in the south should go and have deep reflection or deeper reflection that Nigeria cannot afford to run a Saudi within Nigeria. And those running such similar systems in the northern Nigeria, I'm thinking again, are running such within their own bubble. Because if they are to test such laws, in our courts, those convictions will be trashed. And that is why Isba is smart enough not to be even prosecuting people. That is why Isba is smart enough not to be prosecuting people. In conclusion, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring this fact. Same constitution or same state laws allows for Muslims to divorce, to marry, allows for Muslims to transact, allows for Muslims to use hijab, despite some frictions and some tactical oppressions which are being resisted. The only challenge and the only exception affecting the civil practice, the civil laws of Muslims or Islamic civil law, is the issue of marriages and divorce. And I'll tell you how. There's a customary court of appeal judgment. A customary court of appeal judgment, I think 4 years ago, that trashed and quashed a customary court judgment regarding a Muslim marriage. The customary court of appeal held that a local customary court, does not have a right over a Muslim marriage. But it's so unfortunate of the customary court of appeal to make such pronouncements. A customary court of appeal, in its wisdom, ought to have known that in the absence of Sharia court of appeal in the south, customary court of appeal can implement or protect the right of Muslims or Muslim civil laws according to the judicial precedents and existing Islamic laws, instead of trashing a system and leaving the Muslims in total limbo. That judgment is what justified the claims of some Muslims to say, okay, if the customary court cannot guarantee the Muslim rights on divorce and marriages, therefore we need Sharia courts. These are two different names: Sharia court of Sharia panel, Sharia arbitration centers, Sharia court. No matter the codifications or the generic terms given to it, that is not the deal. That is not the issue here. The point is they want a Sharia institution. But the interesting thing is that the Sharia institution exists internally and independently in the southwest in different mosques. So the question is, what then do they need Sharia court of appeal, or sorry, Sharia court, Sharia panels for? That's another argument. What does it need it for? Because even within the realm of divorce and marriages, there are critical and complex issues. Ask me how. Customary courts, for example, are forced to borrow from English laws and customary laws when dissolving Muslim marriages in the issue of maintenance. Because basically, the Islamic law on divorce has no provisions for divorce or alimony, has no provisions for maintenance or alimony in divorce. Basically, there are different interpretations. So, customary courts are forced to borrow from English laws and customary laws to say, oh, let's allow laws guiding maintenance or custodianship favor some Muslim women or Muslim divorce cases. So now, if you create a Sharia court of appeal now, or Sharia courts to handle these civil law matters, what else do they want to play? Which roles will they play? And that's why I suggested in an article. Please just conclude this.
Thank you very much.
I showed you an article
Yeah.
that Sharia panel can exist, Sharia courts can exist in the southwest, if the federal government or the state government fails to review and reform the customary court system and the customary court of appeal system to allow Muslim jurists to assist in interpretations of judgments. So, before going to Sharia Court of Appeal or Sharia panel for whatever reason, the existing framework can still be maximized. If Akojaye court has such provision, has such system in their customary court, I'm saying this confidently. The customary court in Akojaye has such small system for Muslims. I'm saying same system can be applied for existing customary courts before even clamoring for Sharia courts. And I said, in the absence of such reforms or reviews, we cannot say let's have Sharia courts or Sharia panels to address Islamic personal laws and civil affairs only. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for that extensive enlightenment. Thank you so much, Mujib. And so let me just draw the line because people have raised their hands. Amun, you go, then Oshuman. No, sorry, Amun. After Amun is Ishaku Rebecca, then Oshuman, number 3, Abdurrahman, 4.